Hello everyone, welcome all of you for the business law class of 3rd BCom. Okay, let us see the first chapter, that is introduction to the business law. Okay, first we'll see what is the meaning of law. Okay, we all of you know man is a social being. Okay, he lives in society with the many people. Okay, while living in society he comes into contract with others in different capacities. Okay, when he is living in a society he have to enter into the contract with the many peoples in different manners. Okay, for instance, he comes into contract with the landlord as a tenant. Okay, with the tenant as a landlord, or with an employer as an employee, with an employee as an employer, or with a master as a servant, or with a servant as a master. Okay, or etc. Borrower, with the borrower as a lender, or the lender as a borrower, like that, etc. Okay, in this all contracts, all these agreements. Okay, when a person is living in a society, it's very necessary to that person to enter into the contracts or agreement with the other people. It's very necessary, right? Okay, in all these contracts or all these agreements or all this relationship with others, he is expected to observe, or he expected to follow some code of conduct. Code of conduct is nothing but is expected to, or it's very necessary to a person to follow some rules and regulations, right? Rules and regulations for the peaceful living in the society. When he is living in the society, okay, is when he is enter into the contract with other people, it's very necessary to a person, okay, to follow some rules and regulations or any other restrictions for the peaceful living in the society. Okay, otherwise peaceful living in the society becomes impossible. Okay, if a person is not following any rules, not following any rules, regulations, or any restrictions, okay, means the peaceful living in the society becomes the impossible. So the famous philosopher Aristotle said, man, when perfected, is the best of animal. When the man is perfect, okay, perfect means when he is following all the rules and regulations of the society, then he is the best animal. Okay, but when separated from the law and justice, when a man is not following the any rules and regulations, or is not following the law and practices, then he is the worst of all. He is worst from the all. So as uh, okay, according to Aristotle, when man is following all the rules and regulation, is best of animal. When the man is ignoring all the laws or all the rules and regulations of the society, when he is act against the society or society's rules, then he is the worst of all. Okay, so it is necessary for every man to have some knowledge of general principles of the law of the country in which he lives. So, when a person living in society, it's very necessary to know the some rules and regulations of the society for the peaceful living of the society. So, it is very necessary for every person or every man to have a general knowledge or basic things about the, okay, law of the particular country. You should have a basic knowledge of the law which are prevailing in that particular country. Okay, so there is one saying, ignorance of law, there is no excuse. If the person is ignoring any law, of if the person is acting against any law of the country, there is no excuse for that particular person, because in front of the law all are equal. In front of the law all peoples are equal. Okay, either he is a poor or the rich, all peoples are equal in front of the law. So ignorance of law, there is no excuse. So a knowledge of general principles of the law of the country will certainly help a person in protecting himself against others. Okay, if a person have the knowledge of the general knowledge or basic knowledge of the law, it's helpful for that person to protect himself from others. Okay, when he brought into legal relationship with others knowingly or unknowingly, when he is entering into the relationship with other knowingly or unknowingly, legal relationships, in that time, if that person has the knowledge of the law, okay, it protects himself against the others. Okay, so law is nothing but it is the rules and regulations or code of conduct or restrictions or practices, okay, which protect himself from others when he brought into legal relationship, when he entered into legal relationship with others, knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, then there are different branches of law, different branches of law. For example, mercantile law, civil law, criminal law, constitutional law, international law, company law, sales of goods act or law, etc. There are many types of the law, right? Under these branches of law, under this semester, we are studying about only the business law. First one, business law. Okay. Next, we'll see the what is the meaning of business law. Okay, business law or the mercantile law or the commercial law, one and the same. There are different names for the business law. Okay, business law, mercantile law or the commercial law. Next, we'll see the first, what is the meaning of business law. Business law, mercantile law or commercial law is the branch of law which deals with the rights and obligations arising out of mercantile, commercial or business transactions between mercantile persons or businessmen. Okay, so meaning of business law or mercantile law or the commercial law, it is a branch of law. Okay, different branches of laws are there. It is a one branch of law mainly which deals with the rights, obligations or the rules and regulations or practices or all the matters relating to the business or relating to the trading, okay, of the mercantile, commercial of business transactions, all the matters relating to the business transactions between the business persons or mercantile person is nothing but business persons or two traders. Okay, the business law mainly dealing with the businessmans. Okay, what are the main rules, regulations, okay, at the time of, for example, business law. Okay, business means the persons, one person is buying and one person is selling, mainly in the business, right? Okay, when a person entering into the contract with another in the business, what are the main rules, what are the main practices, what are the main restrictions or what are the main practices or regulations should follow by the businessmen. These things are, okay, studied under the business law. So business law is nothing but, okay, it is the law which is mainly dealing with the rules, regulations or practices which are dealing in the businesses. Okay, and it is a part of general law which regulates and governs trade, commerce and industry, which mainly regulates the governs the trade, commerce and industry. Okay, next we'll see the what are the main sources of the Indian mercantile law. What are the main sources of Indian mercantile law? Sources is nothing but, okay, what are the main base for the Indian mercantile law? To write a particular, to build a particular law or anything, there should be some base, right? Okay, without base we cannot build anything, we cannot write anything or we cannot create anything. There should be some base. Okay, what are the main base or what are the main sources, okay, of the Indian mercantile law? Okay, first one, the Indian mercantile law mainly based on, okay, based on English mercantile law. First source of Indian mercantile law is English mercantile law. We are referring the English mercantile law at the time of preparing the Indian mercantile law. First one, English mercantile law. English mercantile law, okay, under the Indian mercantile law is largely based on the English mercantile law. Many rules of or regulations or the practices of English mercantile law have been incorporated in the Indian mercantile law. Okay, we are incorporated, we are adopting the many rules and regulations of the Indian English mercantile law in the Indian mercantile law. Okay, and uh, even now Indian courts of law generally take recourse, okay,
the English mercantile law, whenever an act is silent on many points when there is ambiguity. Okay, well, in this nowadays also, in some cases the Indian mercantile law is silent about some cases or some situations. Okay, in some cases, in that time we are referring the English mercantile law. Okay, we are adopting the English mercantile law. Okay, we are adopting the principles or the rules and regulations of the English mercantile law at the time of building the or creating the Indian mercantile law. Okay, and we are making some adjustment. Okay, we are making some adjustment or changes as per the situations of the India. Okay, India is different from England, right? That countries are two countries are different, right? So we are adopting their English mercantile law, but we are making some changes. Okay, as per the our convenience or as per our situations. Okay, next we'll see there what are the main sources of English mercantile law. Okay, what are the main sources? Okay, yeah, Indian mercantile law is built on first one English mercantile law. Okay, what are the main sources of English mercantile law? Then English mercantile is based on what are the sources? Okay, first one, Lex Mercatoria or law merchant. Okay, Lex Mercatoria or law merchant. Lex Mercatoria or law merchant was the forerunner of the English mercantile law. It is the name given to the legal principles, okay, based on the maritime usages, customs, and usages that prevailed among the merchants trading in European ports during the 14th and 15th centuries. Okay, Lex Mercatoria or law merchant is nothing but, okay, in this, at the time of the 14th and 15th centuries in European ports. Okay, in European ports, the some merchants in the ports, they are using some usages, customs, or any other traditions. They are using some traditions or customs or usages for the day-to-day business. Okay, in the ports, European ports, some the merchant using some rules, regulations, or customs for their day-to-day activities. These day-to-day customs or usages we are adopting, they are adopting in their English mercantile law. Okay, so under the Lex Mercatoria, law merchant is nothing but some of the customs and usages which were used in the European ports during the 14th and 15th centuries. These are adopted in the English mercantile law. Next one, second one is the common law. Common law is one of the important source of the English mercantile law. The law of contract is, for instance, a part of the common law. Okay, it's a part of common law even today. Okay, even today also it's a part of contract act or business law is a part of common law. The this is law this common law, the growth of common law began after the Norman conquest and became fixed by the end of the regime of Henry III. Okay, under the common law, customs and usages which were evolved, recognized, and practiced over centuries as rules of conduct by the English community became the rules, legal principles of law and acquired the name common law. Okay, under the common law, it's nothing but it's also customs and usages which are used or practiced over the centuries long back. They are using some customs, practices, traditions from the long back in English community. Okay, they have became the legal principles of law. They are at the time of building the English mercantile law, they are adopting the rules, regulations, or the usages or customs which are used by the English community people. They are adopting them as the law. Okay, this is about the common law. Next, we'll see the equity law or equity. Equity law or equity is the system of law based upon the concepts of justice, equity, and equity. Okay, under the equality law, main thing is equity. The main thing under the equity law, or the main principles of equity law is it is a in front of the equality law, all are equal. All are equal. Okay. Next, we will see the statute law. Statute law. Statute law refers to the law laid down in the acts of the British Parliament. Okay, statute law is nothing but under the what are the procedures or what are the decisions taking in the British Parliament. Okay, the statute law is superior to or overrides any rules of common law or equity law. It is superior than the common law or the equity law. Under the statute law, it's nothing but by passing the different acts or different statutes in the Parliament, English British Parliament. Okay, next one is the Roman law. Under the Roman law, also is one of the sources of English mercantile law. It's a Roman law. It's also one of the source of English mercantile law. The English mercantile law includes some of the rules of Roman law. Whenever the English customs and usages fail to afford solution to any particular case, a reference is made to Roman law. Okay, under the English mercantile law, they are referring the Roman law. Okay, Roman law. When the English mercantile includes the many rules, regulations, customs, and usages. In some cases, the English mercantile law is okay fail to afford solution to a particular case, not able to, English mercantile law is not able to provide the solution for many cases. In that case, they are referring the Roman law. Okay, next we'll see about the case law. Under the case law, it's very easy. The case law also is an important source of English mercantile law. The case law refers to the law which is built upon the previous judicial decisions of the judges. Okay, it is based on the principle that what has been decided in the earlier case, is binding in a similar future case, unless there is a changes in the circumstances of the case. Okay, main in the case law. Okay, just remember, the case law mainly based on the previous cases, judgment of the previous cases. They are giving the under the case law, they are giving the judgment on the basis of the previous cases. Okay, unless there is the changes in the circumstances of the case on the basis of the previous decided cases. Okay, this is about the main sources of the English mercantile law. Okay, remember, under the sources of Indian mercantile law, first one is the English mercantile law. Under that, 6 sources of English mercantile law. Next, second one of the Indian mercantile law, that is again statute law. Okay, statute law. Don't confuse. Statute law also there in the English mercantile law. Again, second source is statute law. It's a different. Okay, under the Indian mercantile law, second source is statute law. Okay, statute law refers to the various statutes or acts passed by the legislature or Parliament of India. Under the English mercantile law, sources statute law is there, right? Under that, various statutes or various acts passed in the British Parliament. Under the statute law, under this main point, statute law, various acts or various statutes passed by the legislature or Parliament in India, in Indian Parliament. Okay, the statute law is the most important source of the Indian mercantile law. The bulk of the Indian mercantile law is statute law. Under Indian Parliament, they are passing the many acts. For example, Contract Act 1872, the Indian Negotiable Act 1881, the Sale of Goods of 1930, the Indian Partnership Act 1932, the Indian Insurance Act 1932, the Companies Act of 1956 or 2013. Okay, these are the Income Tax Act, etc. are the examples of the statute law. And statute law means in Indian Parliament, they are passing the various statutes or various acts. These are also became the main sources of the Indian mercantile law. Okay, Contract Act, Sales of Goods Act, Partnership Act, Income Tax Act, Companies Act. These are the main statute laws. Okay. Next, judicial decisions, systems or case law. Judicial decisions, systems or case law. Precedents or case law. Okay. It's same as the case law, right? It is same as the case law. Okay, under the English mercantile law, last one is the case law, right? Case law is nothing but they are referring the previous cases. Under this also same judicial decisions, previous judicial decisions or the systems of precedents or the case law. Okay, see, judicial decisions are one of the important source of the Indian mercantile law. Judicial decisions are precedents refers to previous judicial decisions. They are referring the by referring the previous cases, by referring the same previous cases. If there is changes, they have to do some changes in the judgment. If there is a case is same, they are giving the judgment on the basis of the previous cases, previous year's cases or previous month case. Okay, they are giving the judgment on the previous cases. Okay, and judicial decisions are usually followed by the all those courts which are subordinate to the court which gave the judgment. They are following the subordinate court's judgment, right? For example, all the courts in a state which are subordinate to the high court of that particular state, right? All the states in uh, particular state, for all the states, all the district courts in a particular Karnataka, they are subordinate the high court which is there in Bangalore, right? They are subordinate the Bangalore. So all the states, all the courts which are there in the states, okay, district courts, okay, which are there in the district courts, they are following the, okay, judgment of high courts, judgment of the high courts. And all the high courts in a particular country, they are subordinate the Supreme Court, right? They are subordinate the Supreme Court. They all the high courts of the country, the high courts in the different states, they are following the decisions or the what judgment of the Supreme Court. Okay, this is about the case law by referring the subordinate courts law. Okay, next, last one, customs and usages. Okay, it's nothing but same customs and usages. Under the English law, they are using the customs and usages of the customs and usages of the English community or the merchants of the ports, etc., right? Under the customs and usages, okay, referred to those mercantile customs and usages, okay, which are established by long usage and recognized and incorporated by courts in judicial decisions. Okay, the customs, usages or traditions or practices which are followed by the Indian people, these customs also allowed, or these customs also followed in the Indian business law or Indian at the time of building the Indian mercantile law. Okay, customs and usages are nothing but the traditions, customs, usages which are used, which are practicing the Indian people. These customs also followed in the at the time of writing or building the Indian mercantile law. So these are the main sources of the Indian mercantile law. Okay, first one is the English mercantile law. Under that 6. Like second one is the statute law. Third one is the judicial decisions or case law. Fourth one is the customs and usages. Okay, this is about the meaning and sources of Indian business law or mercantile law or the commercial law. One and the same. Okay. Okay. In next chapter, we'll start with the very important topic of this subject, that is Indian Contract Act 1872. Indian Contract Act 1872 is a very important topic for this semester. Okay, Indian Contract Act 1872. Okay, thank you. We'll see in the next class.